Alrighty, we are jumping in, connecting on Facebook and on YouTube. We're in the Forum Real Estate Facebook group, so hopefully everybody's going to be jumping on here in a minute so that you guys can get ready to join this awesome class. I'll go ahead and share my screen. So if you're wondering what you're doing here today, we are going to be having a class called Systems to Optimize Your Business. And that might sound a little bit scary, but really what it comes down to is, for as long as I've been in business, I come across so many agents that just wing it. They don't have a process, they don't have systems, and it's not overall, like, they're very good people and they have great intentions, but it's not for a great client experience. And also it often ends up that they're super stressed out and can't handle as much business as they possibly could if they were organized, right? So maybe they can handle 1 or 2 transactions, but you give them a third and it's all falling apart and they're super stressed. So they stop prospecting, they stop doing all of the things that got them business there. So that's what this class is all about. Now, that being said, this class is being offered completely virtually. So I make sure that you comment. I want to know, if you guys comment on Facebook, I'll be able to see that. I want to know who's here with me right now. And this class is definitely interactive. So the more you guys chime in through the Facebook news feeds, the more I will be able to answer your questions as we move through, because we got a lot of content to cover. But I also, if you're taking the time to be here right now, I want to make sure that I can answer the questions that you have, because this is one of the things that I get super excited about. Now, I will be perfectly honest with you. If you were to look at my personality profile in terms of, what it is that I am a high expressive, which, most expressives don't like organization and they don't like the details and things like that. And for the most part, that's true, right? Like, my husband tries to talk to me about stocks, I just check out, right? I just check out. But when it comes to organization in my business and things that are going to save me time, I love it and I geek out on a bit. That's kind of my thing. So again, I see we've got 5 people on, but I've got no comments in my news feed. So I don't know what your questions are yet. So just make sure that you are chiming in, and make sure to like StreamYard so that they know that they can read your comments. But let's go ahead and jump right in to our content for today. So the first thing that I want you to know is that all of the slides and everything are going to be available to you. So obviously I'm here teaching a class because I'm passionate about educating our clients and our agents here. And I want to make sure that we create a better agent. So I've got Facebook user just said, hello, Christy. Hello back to you, Facebook user. It doesn't tell me your name, probably because StreamYard doesn't know you, but that's okay. I appreciate you taking the time to let me know that you're there. So if at any time you like the content you're hearing, you want to learn more about a team or about the experience here, let me know. You can find more information at thebighelpergroup.com. You'll see we've got a Meet the Team page. And then I also want to let you know that all of the slides, access to the resources that I'm going to be sharing, are available at bighelpertraining.com. So you'll be able to go there, because what's the point of us having this class if I don't give you something that you can take action on right away? In fact, one of my favorite quotes from Darren Hardy, he says, learning without execution is useless. So I want a commitment from you guys right now in the Facebook messages that you're committed. You're not just attending this class to attend a class, but that you're going to leave this class with at least one action item, like one, right? Like, let's make sure that you're able to leave here today and make your business move forward. So that's my commitment to you, that you will absolutely be able to do that with the content that we're sharing today. But most importantly, I can't force you to do it. So you've got to do it. And at bighelpertraining.com is where you're going to have access to those resources. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. Who am I, right? Like, who's Christy Jenks? Why is she trying to talk to me about systems and optimization? Well, I just want to let you know that this is a picture of my family. And so as you can see, I have a very big family. I have 7 children, 8 if you count my husband. We have 2 dogs. We have a hamster. We have 3 indoor cats, 1 outdoor cat. It's just, we've got a crazy little family going on. And when I jumped into real estate, my husband is also a full-time realtor. And when I jumped into real estate with him, it became very clear, very fast, that if we weren't organized, it was, a sugar show, as one of my favorite people says. It was an SHIT show, right? Like, it was bad. And so we had to adapt really quickly to make sure that we could produce at the level that we needed to provide our family when you have 2 full-time agents providing for a family, but also that, one of our core values is delivering an exceptional client experience. And if you don't have processes, you can't really do that, right? It's not systematic, it's not structured, it's not scalable, and it's not repeatable. So that's why I'm here to be able to talk to you, is not because I'm like some super, organized ninja, but out of necessity. And I think that's where most of you guys are going to be coming from, right? Most of you are coming from the place of, I want to do more business. I don't want to lose, time with my family. And I want to be able to provide for my family. And I don't also want to have, every night wanting to pull my hair out because I'm freaked out about everything that I have going on. So that's me. And that's a little bit about why I'm here today to talk to you about this. So the other one is, and I'll make myself a little bit smaller so you can see. On the right, let's imagine that this is your transaction. On the left is what you planned, right? So here is what we planned to happen. And then of course, every escrow grows just like that. You know what I mean? There's never anything late. There's never a hiccup. The buyer or the seller are super easy to work with. The lender's always on time. The title company's on top of it. And in reality, we know what happens, right? Like, this is what is actually happening. It is craziness. So while we know that every transaction is not going to be the same, there are some things that we know are going to be the same. And that's where we want to organize ourselves, right? We want to make sure that we've got some things in place so that we can predict, at least 75% of the transaction, and we can be on top of it and not be stressed out. So what we're going to be focusing on are 3 different keys. 1, we're going to talk about organization. 2, we're going to talk about checklists. And when I talk about checklists, this is, I'm going to give you details. I'm, more than happy to share all of our processes, all of our systems with you. In fact, if you go to the bighelpertraining.com, then you'll find that you can download the slides, but also it says, do you want to join a mastermind? Let us know. We'll connect you with the right mastermind. Here's my email address. Here's my phone number. Absolutely committed to making sure that you leave this class with actionable items. So the last part is being tech enabled, because I'm going to be quite frank with you. When I created this presentation, it was prior to Monday. And on Monday, what did we hear here in the Phoenix? If you're watching this and you're here in the Phoenix Valley, metro area, what did Zillow announce? Well, they announced that they're going to open their own brokerage in January. I can't say that I'm super shocked, but what I can say is that, they're trying to change the fabric of our business. And we have to be ready for that. We have to be tech enabled, because they're tech enabled. Open Door, OfferPad, they're all tech enabled. They run on big tech. So if you're a solo agent or you are on a team and you don't utilize technology, I don't want you to be afraid. I'm going to make it super simple for you today, but you have to be open-minded about being that tech enabled agent. So let's go ahead and jump in and talk about organization and systemization. Again, those are big words, but at the end of the day, it starts by having intention. Oh my gosh, I work with a lot of agents. I coach a lot of agents all over the country through the Tom Ferry organization. And one of the things that I would say probably 90% of the clients that I work with, their number one struggle is they don't keep a schedule. right? They don't keep a schedule. They're running around, with their hair on fire all the time. And they feel it. They're constantly stressed out. They're worried about their transactions. They're worried about, am I lead generating enough, and all of those things. And I can tell you that those things can be solved simply by starting with a schedule. And what is a schedule? Is a schedule just like waking up and doing whatever you want and not having it written down? No, I didn't look up the definition of a schedule, but the first thing I know is that you have to be intentional, and you have to have some form of a calendar that you keep. So you can go paper, you can go digital, that's completely up to you. Let's talk about the advantages of paper. The advantages of paper is sometimes people just feel good to write it down and see. I was prior to 2010, I was a Franklin Covey junkie. In fact, my wallet was my Franklin Covey planner. That's kind of, dating me. All of my, 20-year-olds are gonna be like, what's Franklin Covey? But it was this really amazing organization system that had my calendar in it, and it had my daily, plans, had all my passwords. It was amazing. And it really kept me organized. One of the downsides of that is that my husband really didn't know what I was doing. He didn't know where I was scheduled. And I didn't really know what he was doing. In 2010, we started to go digital. He was a full-time agent at that time, and I was working for a publishing company and traveling and selling textbooks and working with teachers. So when we moved to a digital calendar, it really opened up a lot for us because I could see his calendar and he could see mine. Now, we use Google Calendar. That doesn't matter if you're Outlook, if you're Google, if you're iCal. What matters is that if you have a family or you have other people that need access to your schedule, a digital calendar allows you to share calendars and then to be able to see other people's calendars. So that's really awesome because now my husband can see, if he jumps into my calendar today, he knows that I'm going to be here with you guys teaching this class. So it starts by having a place to schedule things. The next part of organization and organizing yourself to be more efficient is that you have some form of time blocks. Now, I had never really heard of time blocks before becoming an agent. And so all of a sudden I started hearing, oh, you got a time block, you got a time block, you got a time block. And the first time I came across it, the first class I ever went to with time blocking, they had it. And actually I have another class that I do talk about, stop wasting your time. We talk about time blocking in depth. That's an 1.5 hour long class. So keep your eye open for that because I will be doing that class again. And actually you can find it on the Facebook page and go back and watch it through StreamYard. So time blocking, in essence, just means that you're setting aside a specific time to work on something, right? So it's not just I wake up and when I decide to go into the office, I go into the office. It's, no, I'm in a time block right now. I'm going to teach a class at the forum on Friday, right? From 9:30, for the next 1.5 hours. That is specific. It's basically a time block. When you set an appointment with a buyer or when you set an appointment with a seller, it's kind of like a time block. It's an appointment time block. Now, here's the cool part. People tell me all the time, I just can't time block. Things come up. Being in real estate is so difficult. And I heard it explained to me probably 6 months ago. It said from somebody, basically when we were in high school, we were time blocking. We just didn't know it. And our high school did it for us, right? Think about that. How did you attend 6, 7 periods every single day and keep it all together? You were essentially time blocking. You weren't in English class working on your chemistry or vice versa, right? When you were in math class, you were focused and studied on math and you were efficient. That's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to look at the things that you need to do. Specifically, we're talking about escrows in this class and, organizing our back-end systems. So I'm asking you to say, okay, I've got to do escrow updates. So you see on there it says time blocks escrow. I have, 5 pending contracts and I know that there are timelines, there's deadlines, there's communication that needs to happen. I'm asking you to put that in your calendar, not to wing it. Last year, I had the privilege of hearing Chris Voss speak in person. And if you don't know who that is, he wrote an amazing, amazing book called Never Split the Difference. It's one of my favorite books. I've read it probably 3 times. It's actually really good on Audible. I like the Audible because you can hear some of his tactics that he's talking about. But essentially, he's a former top FBI negotiator. And one of the things that he said that really stuck out to me is that we hold our buyers and sellers hostage when they don't know when we're going to communicate with them again, right? Like, let me say that again. Don't hold your sellers and your buyers hostage by not letting them know when you're going to communicate with them. In fact, we know that one of the number one complaints that, in polls that NAR has done, the number one complaint that people have about their realtor is that they didn't communicate with them. Okay, I don't want that to be you, right? Like, we already know that sometimes we're ranked with like car salesman and lawyer. And that's why I'm teaching this class. I want to, help pave the way for a better realtor and a better client experience. So don't hold your clients hostage, whether they are a seller that hasn't gone under contract or a seller that's under contract or a buyer under contract. Block out time in your calendar so that you can work on your escrows. Figure out what that is going to be, put it in your calendar, and then stick to that. You're also going to block out time to do your emails and calls, right? Like, don't be a slave to your inbox, right? Don't do that. One of my mentors once said, every time you run into your inbox and, live in your email, every time you get an email, you're essentially working on someone else's to-do list, right? Like, so when I prioritize email over everything else, I'm putting everybody else's action or to-do list ahead of my own. So specifically put and set aside time for you to be able to work on emails and return calls and things like that. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about when it's coming to preparing yourself to be more efficient and to, keep yourself systematized is I'm going to highly encourage you to work by days by design. And, I'll give you an example of how we do it on our team just to kind of help you realize what this means. But one of the things that we do is when we go into the listing presentation, we always let our sellers know that we're going to update them every single week. In fact, we have a communication guarantee. That's one of the first things that we learned from our mentor, Chuck Fazio, is have a communication guarantee. So we promise to communicate with our clients at a minimum once a week. So we put together an incredible sellers report that's going to be delivered to them every single Monday. And that's when we're going to update them on everything that we've been doing. So for us, Mondays is our seller report day. So all of our listings that are active, we generate this report and we give it to the seller, and they know we're going to talk about feedback. We're going to talk about the marketing that we did, how the home is performing online. Are there any new comps? Did anything close? Going over the numbers and then strategizing, what are we going to do next? So that happens every single Monday. And the sellers know and can count on that happening. So we're not holding them hostage. They don't have to think, gosh, I wonder how my showings went. I wonder how the open house went. That's all going to be in the report, and it's going to happen every Monday. The next one that we do is on Tuesday. That's our basically escrow day. So Tuesday is everything that's under contract. We're going to go ahead and communicate with those folks. And that is, we actually use BombBomb to do that. We use a BombBomb video. And essentially what we're covering is everything that's happened on the escrow in the past week, everything that we need from them, right? So if I'm sending them a document to sign, we're going to explain what that document is and let them know why we need it. And then what happens next, right? So every single week, they're getting, communication from us. Here's where we're at. Here's what we need to do. Here's what we still need to do. And here's what happened next. Now, you guys know there's always a part in the escrow process that we call the sit and wait part, right? Like, we're just kind of waiting. They're working on their loan, but the appraisal's done, the BINSR's done, all repair requests are in, and we're just literally waiting for it to close. And that's where I see a lot of agents drop the ball in communication, is they don't communicate because they're in the sit and wait period. Well, what happens to your buyer or your seller is they get anxious when they don't hear from you. When they don't get that reassurance that the transaction is moving how it should, they get a little bit anxious. And we're trying to, again, not hold them hostage by not communicating with them. We're going to be upfront with them. And so sometimes it's just we are in the sit and wait period, right? We're literally just, you keep working with your lender. When they ask you for documents, make sure you're going to get them. Right now, we're just waiting for the CD to come out, and then here's what happens next. Then you're going to be able to schedule the sign. Then we're going to, that's what you do. So, hey, Sherry, I got a wave from Sherry. Thanks for joining and jumping in. So the last one that I really want to mention in terms of days by design, and this is more in regards to follow-up and process. One of the things that we know is that we need to be communicating with our past clients in our sphere of influence. And sometimes I find that it's really hard to manage lead generation, lead follow-up, and nurturing that database, right? Like it can be hard. So I have found that by dedicating 1 day a week that I know that I'm going to be calling my past clients, that I know that I'm going to be reaching out, sending a text message, kind of nurturing those people, it makes it a little bit easier, and it's something that I can look forward to. And so for me, like that day's Friday. It's a little bit less of a crazy day during the week. And so I'm able to kind of focus on that lead pillar on Fridays. And sometimes, for you guys, that might be an open house, right? So a day by design is that on, Friday or Saturday, that's my open house day. And so I'm not doing an escrow update. I'm not doing a seller update on those days. So that's days by design. And now we're going to talk a little bit. Oh, actually, I'll share. So one of the things that we do and use to help us stay on target each day is we've got a couple different examples, and you can also download these from bighelpertraining.com. But this one on the left is called our daily accountability book. And on here, it's just got some ideas of things that you want to do, a checklist, if you will, of some of the most important things that you can do during the day, right? So, making sure that you're doing your hour of power, making sure that you're role playing, and making sure that you've done a past client check-in or that you've set an appointment, right? Just some of those things. And then there's even a weekly checklist over here. And then, of course, what you track and measure improves. So we're tracking conversations and appointments over here. Some of our clients like to gamify this approach. And so we also have a 100-point daily checklist that we picked up from one of our friends, Mark Pattinson in California, which is super fun. And basically you can get points for all these different activities. And at the end of the day, if you could hit 100 points, you are absolutely winning or crushing the day, if you will. So those are just some of the things that, in terms of a checklist and keeping ourselves organized, real estate never stops. Right? Like legitimately, you could probably work from the moment you woke up until you passed out from exhaustion. And so what I like about these checklists is it's kind of like an opportunity to say, you know what? I did everything I need to do today. I can stop working and feel good about the progress that I made on my business today. So that's what I do love about the daily checklist. So let's jump into the base foundation of organizing our business. So apart from not having a schedule, the second next question that is asked to me more than any other question is, Christy, what CRM should I use? And that is, oh gosh, go on to Lab Coats, the Lab Coats Facebook group, and you'll see that question asked at nausea. Same thing. If you're a Tom Ferry coaching client, you jump into any of the Tom Ferry coaching client Facebook pages, and people just want to know, what CRM should I use? What CRM should I use? So I thought it would be really important to talk about the types of CRMs and what they do so that you can know which one you should be using. Because at the end of the day, you need to use one, right? Like you will not perform at the level that you're capable of. You will not have the success that you're capable of, or you can have success, but you also will be exhausted and stressed out and just not efficient. So the CRM is absolutely critical for your organization and systemization of all of your processes. So it's kind of like this base foundation, and that's why we're starting here. So I'll go ahead and make this bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better. But so there are two types. So I've got two different tiers. The top one is what we call a contact management system. And I want you to think of a contact management system like a Rolodex on steroids. It's a tech-enabled Rolodex. What's a Rolodex? I never had one, but I know what it is. It's basically, your address book, essentially. It organizes all of your people, but it's tech enabled because it's in technology. So here are a couple contact management systems. Follow Up Boss is a phenomenal tool. It's probably, out of all of those that are up there on that top system, it's my favorite because it has the most potential to grow with your business. So it's a back-end system only, meaning it doesn't have a front-end system. That'll make more sense on the next couple slides, but it just is going to manage your people. So you're going to put your people in either Follow Up Boss, Lion Desk, Top Producer, RealVolve, Contactually. Those are kind of the big ones. You're going to put your people in there. You're going to be able to apply tags. What's a tag? A tag could be something like past client. It could be neighbor. It could be, the name of your farm. You met them at an open house. Like, tags are how you filter through people. And it's really important that you apply tags to your clients so that you can quickly find them. In most of these systems, notes are not searchable. The only searchable items are tags, right? So like I've got a tag in my system about ASU, right? So who are my ASU clients? Who are my, my Cardinal fans? That's silly. Who are my clients that have dogs? Who are my clients that have kids or live in Queen Creek or live in Chandler or live in Gilbert or live in Seville, right? You can apply numerous tags. In my opinion, you can't have too many tags because it just makes your whole system more searchable. So you can grab the people that the content that you would want to create with them or share with them is, easier. Or think of this like birthdays. What if you had a January birthday tag and you click on that? Let's see, it's October. So what if you had an October birthday tag? You click on that and all of your October birthdays are in one list. Then you can, write happy birthday cards or make happy birthday calls, and you've got that easily accessible. So, but in a contact management system, you're going to have all your people. You're going to be able to organize them. You're going to be able to apply tags and keep all of your notes and log your calls. So it really just organizes your people, which is really important. How I see this used most often is that people use it for their past client center of influence. What these systems are not super great at, with the exception of Follow Up Boss, Lion's Desk probably do it the best. RealVolve can do it. Contactually, not so much because it doesn't support text messaging. Top Producer doesn't support text messaging either, but it's very simple and it's very inexpensive, and it does have a newsletter. So people like that one. Is they don't do lead management or think lead nurturing. Okay, so that's why I have contact management at the top, and then on the bottom we have lead management, which just basically means how do I nurture leads? So examples of that are KV Core, Boomtown, Sierra Interactive, Chime, Playster, Wailopo, Commissions Inc. There's hundreds. Firepoint. There are hundreds of CRMs out there. If you're with EXP, one of the cool things is we get KV Core for free as being part of EXP. It's an incredible site, and we'll talk a little bit more about that because I kind of want to, again, we're talking about the differences between these. So these ones on the bottom, now Follow Up Boss does do and can support lead follow-up. That's why I said it's my favorite of the top ones. And it also can be extremely powerful when you partner with something like Wailopo, or if you grab a Playster site that has an IDX. So these ones on the bottom, what they do differently is that they organize all your people, like the top, but they also connect to a front end site where you can search for homes, right? So that's that IDX integration. So we're not sending them to MLS. We're trying to get them off Zillow. We're trying to get them off, Redfin or Realtor.com. We want to put them on our site so we can start to see what they do. And most of these sites will also allow you to create your own content, and they give you lead pages as well. So you can create landing pages and do different things like that. So it doesn't matter if you want to go with the top option or the bottom option, but what's most important is that your people have a place to go to. We've got to make sure your people are in a place, that they're not in your head, that they're not just in your phone. Could you do this in an Excel document? Yes, but is it optimal? No, because again, we want tags, we want reminders. That's one of the things that I really, really enjoy, is that I don't have to remind myself of when I need to call someone. My system lets me know. So I have gone on about a CRM and why and the difference between them, but here are the top 3 reasons that you need to have a CRM in place. 1, it's a place for your people, your past clients, your center of influence, all of the current leads that you're working with. And then if you are doing any type of online lead generation, right, you have a place for your people. They're all in one place. I believe that the less systems we can keep an agent in, the better. I don't want you to have to go all over the place. I want you to just go to, maybe 1 or 2 places to do everything that you need to do. So the place for your people. But guys, this is also your second brain, okay? What does that mean? Your second brain is where you can put information and then not have to think about it, right? Your brain is extremely powerful. And unfortunately, it also uses a lot of calories and it occupies a lot of, just headspace. When we've got things rattling around in there, sometimes we can feel foggy and different things like that. Oh, I got to remember to do this. I got to remember to do that. So in terms of a second brain, what it allows you to do, allows you to set it and forget it. So when I meet a client at an open house, I type in every single notes. Looked like, I'll even say, looked like Thor and wore a red hat or had crazy overalls, like little things to help me remember. Has a son named Jax and they live in X. Everything from my interaction, I put it into there. But then I also set myself a reminder to follow up with them again. Then I can let it go. I don't have to let it rattle around in my head anymore. It gives me space to think about other things. So that's the second reason that you want to have this place for your second brain, is just so you can clear up some of the things rattling around in your head. And then you never have to worry about forgetting it. So Shannon says, if I put all of my CRM into KV Core would maximize my time spent trying to update multiple systems. Absolutely, Shannon. Yes. So that's my personal philosophy. That's how I run my business. We have everybody in one place. And here's a perfect example of that. So if you purchased a home from me and Meryl, one of the things that we're going to do is we are going to put you on a campaign of calls every single quarter. And again, I don't want to have to think about that. I don't want to say, okay, we closed with Shannon in this month, and then I need to call her again in this month, and I need to call her again in this month. So I'm going to put you in KV Core, and then I'm going to put you on an automated drip campaign that reminds me to call you every 3 months. And it just happens, right? But also by having you in KV Core, and I know that you live in Maricopa, and I know that you have a cute family, right? And like all these different things about you that I learned through our transaction, I can keep all those notes there. And then the next time I see something cool in Maricopa happening, I search KV Core for my Maricopa tag, I pull all those people together, and now I can send a mass text or mass email. It says, hey, I was thinking about you. I saw this amazing activity. I wonder if you guys are going to be able to go. I think it's going to be incredible. And now you feel important to me. And it was very easy, right? It was super, super easy for me to do. So yes, it's a lot harder to manage multiple systems. I mean, you're already busy in selling homes and going on appointments and lead generation, lead generating. I do not see a reason why we would not want to have them in KV Core, from the simplicity of every day I log into KV Core and I know who I need to call, right? Like I just know who I need to call. It could be a past client. It could be a lead that I'm following up with. It doesn't matter, because KV Core or your CRM is going to tell you who you need to follow up with every day. So that's a great question, Shannon. I appreciate it. So the last part, and actually that was kind of what we were talking about with Shannon's question, is when you have a CRM, guys, you are able to automate, okay, 80% of your lead follow-up, like 80%. In fact, that's my goal. If I can have my systems do 80% of the heavy lifting, I am only responsible for 20% of human time. And you know what that 20% usually is? Guys, it's just making the call. That's all it is. It's making the calls. So in the case of like on our team, we actually are Zillow Flex partners. So we get Zillow leads, and a Zillow lead comes in And if you've ever purchased online leads, or heck, if you purchase Facebook leads or Google pay-per-click leads, like we know a lot of those leads are top of the funnel. That's a whole nother class that we can talk about, where leads are at and how we can convert them better. But at the end, what we're really saying is a lead comes in, and a lot of times, guys, you have to call and call and call and call and call, and until you can reach them and convert them. And what most agents do is they only call once, and then they say, oh, online leads don't work, or Zillow sucks, and different things like that. Zillow might suck, but for different reasons, not because they have bad leads. So what your CRM can do is, this is what it looks like on our team. We get a lead from Google pay-per-click, we get a lead from Facebook, we get a lead from Zillow. It comes into the system, and without the agent having to do anything, within the first 2 minutes, it's going to get a text. Hey, Christy, this is Christy from the Big Helper Group. You inquired about the property in 123 Coconut Street. When would you like to see it? So that text message is going to go out within 2 minutes. Right after that, another text message goes out. Let me know ASAP. I'll get it set up. So they get a text and they get a text. So it looks human, right? And then 10 minutes later, they're going to get an email that says, hey, this is Christy with the Big Helper Realty Group. I saw that you inquired about a property on Zillow or on Facebook or on Google, whatever it is. Would you like to see it today? If so, let me know what the best time is. So it's just trying to get that initial interaction. And then I just have to make the call. So I don't have to send a text message. I don't have to send the emails. I just make the call. We also have it set up so that when that lead comes in, they're automatically set up for an e-alert. What's an e-alert? An e-alert means that we're sending them properties. Again, we want to get them off whatever online portal they're looking at, because I don't want them to go find another realtor. I want to be their realtor. I want to be the one that helps them. I want them to come to my site. So I'm going to start sending them homes. And then if they don't respond to my calls and my texts on the first day, the system is going to continue to do what it does, which is sending text messages to get engagement. What neighborhoods are you interested in, right? Like, all that kind of stuff. I want to engage them. So that's why I say 80% automation, 20% human time. Get your systems to do the heavy work for you. If your leads that you're getting outside of open houses, but guys, with KV Core, you can even put up your KV Core site at an open house and have them register that way. But if your leads are not going automatically into your CRM, that's more human time that you're wasting for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of agents they just forget. And so they get a lead and then they don't put it in to the CRM, and then they forget about it. And then that lead thinks that they don't have an agent that's working for them, so they go work with someone else. Or then you've got to take the time to put that lead into the system when it could have happened automatically. So those are, just a couple things to think about when it comes to why, you want to have a system that does this for you. So again, at the end of the day, my favorite systems are the ones that are connected. So like, this is the front end of our website, bighelpergroup.com. It's where they can search for homes. They can get a home valuation. They can learn more about me. They can learn more about my team. It's got everything that they need. It's a very sticky site, meaning that the content is good and we want to bring them back. But it also has a back-end site. And here's the cool part about the back-end site. When the lead looks at a home, it tells me, right? So again, 80% automation, 20% human time. I get a notification. This is just me as a lead. And so it says, hey, Christy looked at this property last night. She only looked at it once, but imagine if I had looked at it 10 times, right? Here's the property. And I could have requested information. I could have requested a showing. I could have emailed it to a friend. I could have even calculated a mortgage, and you would know, right? You would know that information. And so what that allows me to do is then when I go into, to my system and I'm going to be making my calls, I'm going to call Christy and say, hey, I saw this amazing property on Claxton Street. I wanted to know if you'd like to go see it. And now my client knows that I am paying attention and I'm really out there working on their best behalf, right? So that's just an example of why it's important to have a solid foundation in your CRM, because if you're operating from memory, if you don't have a process in place of lead follow-up, then you're just kind of running all over the place. So once you have a place for all your people, okay, so we've spent a lot of time on people. Once you have a place for all your people, you really need a place for your files, okay? So people are now organized. We've got a CRM and we've got a system in place for lead follow-up, and we've got a structure in place that every single lead is getting a tag so they're easily organized. We're following up with their birthdays, their home anniversaries, all that stuff is in one place. So people are now taken care of. What about all the paperwork? Now, I have a lot of coaching clients that are still using paper files. So I'm not going to knock paper files. It's not super efficient. I'm blessed that all my brokers have always had an electronic, system. So I know there are brokers out there that don't have an electronic system. So if you are on paper, then I'm still going to encourage you to look into this, because remember, our goal is to be tech enabled. Because if we are not, someone else will be. We want to make it easy for them to work with us. And, studies are showing that the next biggest buying pool is millennials, right? So if that's the buying pool, you think they're going to want to do all paper, right? Get comfortable with electronic signatures, get comfortable, with all of that. But let's also face it, that's how we keep our contracts. We're in transaction desk now here in Arizona. And, I will tell you that I did love zip forms better. I don't know who made that decision to move us. That's a whole nother class. So we won't complain about that here. So you've got to decide where you're going to keep your files. So you can keep them on your desktop. Yes, you can keep them on your computer locally. Or you could put them in the cloud, which allows you to access them from anywhere. You don't have to be home to access your files. You can access it from your phone. You could, pop into the forum, grab one of their computers, jump in and access your files. More importantly, if you have a transaction coordinator or a teammate or something like that, then they can also access the files. So you're not strapped to your computer in terms of where your files are. So the three big ones that I would mention are Google Drive, Dropbox, and OneDrive. And guess what? They're all free. Google Drive's free. You have a Google Drive account that comes with your Gmail. So get off Hotmail, get off Yahoo, and get a Gmail account. If you're using an Outlook account, then you're going to have OneDrive. Outlook is, Microsoft is OneDrive. That's a fantastic system, and they do everything online too. So, right, if you're with Google, you're using Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Presentations, Google Forms. We'll do another class on Google because I love Google. And then you can use Dropbox. Dropbox is also a cloud option that allows you to share files. So the cool part is you can actually share these files with your client. So they have access to all their executed documents at any point in time. I know you're sharing with them, but it just kind of depends on where they're at. So you need to decide on a storage place. I'm going to highly encourage that you have an electronic storage solution. Don't be afraid of it. There are hundreds of YouTube videos, and I promise that it's going to be easy for, it'll get easier the more you do it. So the second thing is you need to have a naming convention. What does that mean? It means that you need to have a process of how you name your files. So we do ours like last name dot street address. So that way we can quickly find our clients, and we do that every single time, right? So don't just name your, figure out what your system is on how you name your files. The next thing I'm going to highly recommend is that you utilize templates. So when you create a Google Drive folder for new contracts, there's probably going to be a couple things that is in every single folder. Create a template for that. If you're not utilizing templates in Transaction Desk and Zip Forms, get on that. That is going to save you so much time, right? I mean, one of my friends, she told me I could write a buyer contract in 3 minutes. And I said, well, if you had a template, you could probably write it in one. So take the time to create templates in the places that you work. So Transaction Desk is one of those. Create your buyer template, create your listing agreement template, so that when you go to write a contract, 90% of it is filled in. And you just have to go and change a couple different things. So that's one of the things that you're going to do to keep yourself organized and make sure that your contracts have, are broker compliant. You know what I mean? That's super important because your broker has certain ways that they want you to do things. So then you need to get your email organized. So again, it doesn't matter if you use Gmail, if you use Outlook, it doesn't matter if you use Hotmail or Yahoo or any what's really AOL. So it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have a system in your email. Now, if you are one of those people that have like 3,000 emails in your inbox, 1,000 emails, hundreds of emails in your inbox, that's a rough place to be. That's a really, really rough place to be. So I'm going to encourage you that you need to absolutely get your email under control. So there's a couple things that I'm going to recommend that are just going to speed things up. One, folders are fantastic, right? So utilize folders to organize escrows. So again, you could have a buyer folder and use the same naming convention in your email that you would use in your Google Drive or your Dropbox. And it could be, Jenks.Trophy Court, Jenks.6428 South Trophy Court, right? So use the same naming convention that you're going to use in there. And then you can put those emails in that folder. So that way you don't have a bunch of, it's hard to stay organized or even see emails that you can't. Now, Merrill, my husband just jumped on and he said, hey, what about Folio? Absolutely, and I have that on here. Folio is a really cool tool that in terms of email organization is really going to help you kind of do that. And what it does is it detects, so in Folio, you can set up who's the escrow officer, who's the lender, who's the cross-sell agent, who's the client, everybody that's involved in the transaction. And every time you get an email from one of those people with the name and the address, it's going to say, hey, do you want to put this in this folder? And it actually creates a folder for each of your transactions. And so that's, one way to really make it simple to stay organized in your email. The last one that I mentioned, though, or right before Folio, I said templates. So I don't know how to do this in, Outlook, and I don't know how to do this in some other ones, but I do know how to do it in Gmail. So if you ever have a question and you want to know, just shoot me a message and we can, I think we have a training video on how to do this. But one of the things that we utilize in our Gmail are what we call canned email, CANNED. And a canned email is basically a pre-written email, right? So think about this. When you launch the new escrow, right? So you're going to launch a new escrow. You have to email the title company. You have to email, a bunch of different people. And usually the content of those emails are pretty much the same. So if you create a template that says, new escrow, and you go into your Gmail, you click on your template, new escrow, it populates all the standard information. And now you just go in and change the people, the address, a couple things like that. But 90% of what you need is in there. Merrill wants to mention that he loves to keep his email organized in Gmail. He loves snoozing emails. And I will tell you that snoozing emails is also one of my favorite features, and that's I think it's only available in Google. But what it allows you to do is, let's say that you get an email and it's something that you need to do, but you can't do it right now. You can snooze that email to come back to you at a different time that you can use it. So I do love that tool. It's one of my favorite tools to help, keep me at inbox zero. That's definitely my goal, because I know Merrill's this way too. We use our email inbox as our to-do list. And so, but it also allows us to quickly know when we need to do something that's escrow related, because we don't have hundreds or even thousands of emails in there that are just clogging our brain, one thing I didn't mention in here is unroll.me. That's one of my favorite tools as well. Unroll.me, it detects any email that has an unsubscribe, and it'll ask you, do you want to unsubscribe from this? So it will automatically unsubscribe you. So it'll take all those emails that have an unsubscribe on the bottom. Like, I love my lenders, but when Academy Mortgage sends out an email, I get the same email from about 10 or 15 different lenders, right? Same thing for Fairway, same thing. Like all of these lenders are using the same email, right? So I love unroll.me because it allows me to quickly unsubscribe from emails that I don't want to get. So, okay, Moving on to now your files are organized and your people are organized. So what do we need to work on next? We're going to start talking about checklists. And that's why you guys came to this class, is because you want the meat of the checklist of what you need to do. Now, we actually have an EXP mastermind. So everybody who is, with us with EXP, we have a really powerful mastermind that this is what we've been focused on. So Shannon, my good friend Shannon, she's got her checklist dialed in. Shauna's got her checklist dialed in. And what is a checklist? Well, we're creating, my computer is got a low battery. So I'm going to make sure that we plug this computer in so that we don't lose our slideshow. Holy cow. Okay. This isn't embarrassing at all. All right. Come on, people. It's a live show. Okay, there we go. I'm back. Okay, so checklist is what we're working on. So we've been focused on checklists for a long time, and you probably have some. The easiest one is the one that I have up on the screen right now, and that can be found in Transaction Desk and ZipForm, and also in the resources. Remember, if you go to Big Helper, I'll post it right now. BigHelperTraining.com. You can download this resource. Again, it is in Transaction Desk, but I made it simple for you. So at a minimum, you can use what the state has provided us with in the critical dates checklist. Now, I believe that there are 4 absolutely critical checklists. You can have more, but every agent should start with 4. And the first one that we're going to cover is called buyer contract to close. So basically a new escrow. When we get a buyer under contract, what is it that we need to do with them? The second one is when we get a listing signed, right? So we get a listing signed, congratulations. What are the next things that we need to do? And then when that listing goes under contract, right? So listing contract to close. And the last one, and I don't know of a lot of people that have this one, so I'm kind of letting you guys know one of my, secrets, if you will. So for the 8 people that are here, you get to be included in what we call closing protocol. And closing protocol is absolutely what Meryl and I can attrite much of our success to. I think Meryl's taken 10 listings in the past, 5-6 weeks. All of them are from past clients, and either a past client or a referral from a past client. So that comes because we have what's called a closing protocol. So I'm going to be sharing that with you and ideas of how you can create your own closing protocol. So this is where you guys do the work. This is where, oh yes. So Meryl came, he said it's absolutely the secret of our success. So again, for the 8 people on here right now, you guys know, and somebody take a screenshot of this and post it on social media, because Meryl just says, I get all of the credit. That being said, I will say that I don't do it alone, and I have an amazing team that support me. So Kelsey, she's my secret weapon. And so she should absolutely get all the credit. But I will tell you that it is what we use. And so stay tuned, because that's going to be something that we absolutely cover. And I want you to have that same success, right? I don't want these big tech companies stealing your clients. And let's face it, when you get repeat and referral business, it is less expensive than procuring a new client. So let's just make our clients happy and let's keep them there. So the first checklist we're going to talk about is contract to close, right? And so what essentially is a checklist? The checklist is designed to help you create a systematic process, something that happens every single time, so that the client, in terms of client experience, they're all experiencing things. But most importantly, this is what you literally are going to check off to make sure that you didn't miss anything. So our broker uses SkySlope for transaction management. So, and we absolutely love SkySlope. It's a phenomenal tool. There's a lot of different ones out there, Broker Mid, Broker Wolf, Lone Wolf, I don't even, there's a whatever. Use what your broker uses. Dotloop, whatever your broker uses, that's what you're going to use. So we're going to open the SkySlope file. We are going to talk to the buyer about home inspection, earnest money. We're going to set that up for them, because that's one of the things that we do. We're going to give them, 3 referrals to inspection companies, and we might even go as far as getting quotes for them, but ultimately they get to decide which one they want to move forward with. But our job is to make it as easy as possible for them. So we're going to open escrow with the title company. So that means we've got to send over the contracts to them, so you can kind of see what we're doing. If it's a buyer, we're going to request the seller property disclosure statements. We're going to request the claim loss history reports. And then, of course, like I said, schedule those inspections. So that all happens on day 0, unless day 0 is, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. It's going to happen on day 1, early in the morning. So it's a couple things are happening on that first day. Communication with your client. Here's what happens next. Right? We've got to pick our inspection day. We've got to pick an inspector. We're going to arrange for earnest money. They're not, most of the time they're not giving us checks. We're arranging with the title company to either courier with them or have them drop off their earnest money, different things like that. And now with COVID, there's been a lot of amazing options on how they can get their earnest money. The technology's really moved forward. But then you can see, like, days 1 through 3, we're verifying that we've got the disclosure statements from the listing agent, that our client has reviewed them, signed them, and we've returned them. And that, of course, we've taken all those documents and we're uploading them to SkySlope. At some point, we've got the inspection within that first 1 to 10 days. So, one of the things that I'm going to highly recommend, and that's not on this top one because it just happens for us, we do it, but I wanted to create a general list that you could go from. So again, this is where, if you are here with us on Facebook, make sure you chime in if you've got something awesome that you guys do. But one of the first things that we do on day 0 is we put all the critical dates into our calendar. Right? So we're not forgetting when the inspection period is over. We're not forgetting, all of those really critical dates. So make sure that day 0, day 1, critical dates get loaded into your calendar. So we're going to attend the inspection. We're going to confirm once the inspection has, we kind of tend to wait until we are through the inspection period, unless we've got a really short time window. We're going to order that appraisal with the lender. We're going to make sure that we send out the buyer's inspection notice of repair to the listing agent and make sure that they got it. Then, we're going to be counting their days, counting our days, going through all of that. So sometime between the first 10 to 15 days, we're going to make sure that we have a resolved BINSR and that we're following up with that lender for the appraisal. And at some point within that first part, we're getting an LSU, right? So if you're a good listing agent, this isn't the listing under contract, but if you're a good listing agent, you're also going to make sure you're getting an LSU. So all this is it's all of the things that you need to do, right? So here's my challenge to you. This list that we've provided you is very generic and it's very, I would say, superficial. What I want you to do is I want you to think, what could you do in your process? How could you make it so that your client absolutely felt that they were your number one priority and that no matter what happened in this transaction, you were their person? So actually, Miss Shannon, who had a comment earlier, I should have taken a picture of that, Shannon, and I didn't. But Miss Shannon, who is in our EXP Mastermind, she did this most beautiful, she partnered with a local baker in Maricopa, and within 24 hours of going under contract or within 24 hours of signing the listing agreement, she has delivered this incredible customized goodie box, congratulating them on making it to the next step. So that to me is absolutely beautiful, right? Because most agents aren't going to do that. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that yet. And I'm inspired by her and the action that she already took. But knowing in your checklist, let's make sure that those extra special touches are in there so that your clients know that they're important. And again, the goal is to build a client for life, a lifelong client. So that is what I want you to think about your buyer checklist. And, some of the things to think about as you are finishing up the contract. Are you sending them the utility information, reminding them to get the utilities turned on, right? That's the worst thing, if they're to move in and they didn't turn on the utilities, and it's Friday afternoon and now the utilities aren't going to be turned on until Monday or Tuesday, right? Like going the extra step. Did you ask the mailbox number? Did you verify the garage remote openers and the mailbox keys and all of those little things that just, moving into a home can be stressful. What can you do to alleviate that process? One of our friends who is not with EXP, we'd love him to be with us, but Gordon Hagman, he rolls out a red carpet on closing day. It's actually really, really cool. He rolls out a red carpet. So when his clients come to get the keys, they have a red carpet experience. And I can promise you that his clients love him. I know that they do. And they absolutely will always use him and refer him because he makes that process. I can tell you that rolling out the red carpet doesn't happen by winging it. He has a process and he's absolutely following it so that the client experience is great. So let's talk about getting a listing signed. Now, this again is very generic, and I just want you to know you're going to beef this up, and I encourage you to beef it up. So I want you to think about getting a listing signed in a couple different aspects. You get the listing signed, and then you go into pre-listing, right? So before we actually get the listing live, what are all the things that we need to do? Well, one, we need to get disclosures, right? How annoying is it when you go to write a contract and you don't have the HOA agreement? It's kind of annoying. And I know it can be difficult to get back from our clients in a timely fashion, but it's got to be in our checklist. We got to order photos, but even before we order photos, we need to make sure the house is photo ready. So on our team, we have a document that we send over to the seller that talks about how to get their home photo ready and what they can do to make their home, perform better. We also, if the home needs staging, we're going to arrange some staging or a staging consultation. But, we used to have a really robust coming soon strategy that unfortunately we can't do anymore. But there's still a lot of fun things you can do, right? Like taking a couple pictures out in front of the house and talking about how you just, got a listing sign and you're really excited for this new home that's coming on the market. That's 3 bedrooms and 2 baths and, under $350,000 with a pool, right? Like a unicorn property. You can talk about those things. So you want to make sure that you have all of that before you hit the market coming up ready, and then of course the paperwork side, get it into Sky Slope so you don't get a late fee, all of that kind of stuff. And you don't get your broker in trouble. You're going to organize the yard sign. Don't put it on before you go live because you'll get a fine like I did. Not bitter at all. And then all of a sudden you're going to go live. So once you go live in the MLS, what do we need to do, right? You should have a checklist of probably 10 or 15 different things, right? So a Facebook post, an Instagram post, an Instagram story, a Facebook story. You're going to, are you going to mail out just listed? Are you going to do an open house? If you're going to do an open house, do you put it in the MLS? Is it in Zillow, right? Like you really got to it's almost a marketing checklist for your listings. If you don't have a marketing checklist for your listings, that's what we're really talking about, right? Get the listing signed, getting it all prepped. Then we go live. And once we go live, it's like boom, 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 boom. Make sure we get it all in there. We get it, updated, everything's syndicating and sending it to your clients to review and approve. There's so many different things. And then of course, one of the things that I've already mentioned is that what if that listing doesn't sell in the first week? Right now in this market, some of you guys are getting 50, 60 offers and it's crazy. Most of it is a multiple offer situation, but there are times when the home doesn't sell the first weekend. Do we update the seller? Absolutely. We talked about that. For us, that's on Mondays. That's, days by design, making sure we are updating the seller every single Monday. So that should be in your checklist. Where am I gathering the data to how the home performed? Did I set up showing time, right? Showing time. If you're still not on the showing time boat, get on it because that will change your life. Be the tech-enabled agent, use showing time. So getting a listing signed, we talked about that. Now, how about getting that listing under contract? So similar to buyer under contract, but a couple things are different, right? Now we're going to make sure that we're sending them the property disclosure statement. We're going to make sure that we have the claim loss history report from our seller. We're going to make sure they have the CBS code because they're going to be doing inspections. We're going to make sure that we're getting that stuff back from us. We're also going to prepare our seller for a home inspection, right? Like that's super important. How are we preparing our seller for a home inspection? And, kind of really softening the blow of them getting a, 45-page inspection report of all the things that are wrong with their home. And especially if the agent uses the 7 addendums to the Binzer. Actually, I love the new Binzer because it's a lot better than the one that we had last time, but you get what I'm saying. How are you preparing your seller for them to get that kind of feedback on their home so we can keep that deal moving forward and things like that? And then, of course, how are we preparing the seller for leaving the home? Have you ever been the buyer's agent and you walk into the home to do your final walkthrough and it's just a disaster? I mean, I've been the buyer's agent on a disgusting home that the seller just left, food in the refrigerator and the power's off and let's talk to our sellers. Let's give them some expectations on how they should leave the home, right? Let's talk to them about them. Let's prepare them so that it's a great experience for everybody. Otherwise, most likely what's going to happen is your seller's moved, sometimes out of state. So that means you're at that house, you're cleaning it. You don't have time for that. Or you're paying somebody to clean it, and that's commissionectomy, right? So let's make sure that your seller's prepared on how to leave the home and that, how many times have you been the buyer's agent and they turned off the water, they turned off the electricity, they turned off the gas, and now you've got to send an inspector back out, or we can't verify the repairs, prior to close of escrow because the utilities are off. That's on us, guys. That's part of our process. Somewhere in your checklist, you need to make sure your seller knows, do not turn off the utilities, until the day of closing or the day after closing to be safe. Right? Like those are things that's on us to make sure that our client has an amazing experience, because we don't want to have to call them and say, hey, the power's off. And they're saying, oh yeah, we turned it off and you didn't tell me. Or one of the worst, right? One of the worst ones is if you're representing the buyer and they've got their moving truck there waiting at the house and it hasn't closed, right? Or they think they get their keys when they sign and they scheduled all their friends to help them move, not realizing that they don't get their keys when they sign, that they get their keys at the time of recordation. So those are things, that's why we have a checklist, to make sure that we don't forget and that we're covering the things that are super important. So last one, for the 7 people that are still here, this is the secret sauce of the training. I appreciate you hanging on and staying with us. So remember, Meryl said, and I'll post it right here, that the secret of our success is absolutely been our closing protocol. And then again, if nobody got the screenshot, he also said that I get all the credit, but then I gave all the credit to Kelsey. So, but I'm going to, somebody take a screenshot, text this to me so that I can always remind Meryl that I'm right. I tease, but I'm also not teasing. So, what is closing protocol? And this is where it's going to be really customized. Guys, if you don't take action on anything that I said today, take action on this, okay? Like if I could shout this from the rooftops, and if you are a brand new agent, take the time to get this set up. If you've been selling homes for years, it's still worth it to take the time to get this set up. And, we always have a funny story that we tell that, Meryl was just so busy selling homes. And finally he was like, hey, I need help. And I said, well, yeah, I'm kind of sick of driving all over the place. Cause remember I was selling textbooks all on the in the Western United States. And so I was gone a lot of times and I was in the car driving a lot. And so I said, sure, I'll come join real estate with you. And I remember attending a class with Chuck and Angela, and it was all about, working your center of influence and working your database. And I was so excited. I came to Meryl and I said, hey, okay, I'm ready to work our database. Where is it? And he like, no joke, he was like, let me work on that for you. And I don't remember how long it took, but he came back with, he was like, it was some papers from the broker. He's like, these are all the homes that the broker says that I sold. And these are, these are all of the ones from the lender. And then like, he gave me like 5 or 6 different places to get information, but we ended up pulling it all together. And so in part of our closing protocol is we ask our buyers for certain information that allows us to get to know them better. So some of the things that you want to put in your closing protocol, we always claim the sell on Zillow. And that's really important because if you don't know this, but Zillow, they do tend to get it right, but they don't always get it right. And so you want to make sure that you're going in and you're claiming all of your sales so that you rank higher in those areas and higher on Zillow. Why? Because believe it or not, some people will just go to Zillow and look for an agent, and they want to see how many recent sales have they done, right? And of course, reviews. So we always claim that sell in Zillow to make sure that we're getting credit for it. But then here's the big one, getting their birth dates, connecting with them on social media. We use birth dates as, a way to help our clients feel special, to feel remembered, and just to connect with them. Like, it's just fun. Who doesn't love? So a couple of things that we do for birthdays. I actually like to use Jib Jab. If you're not familiar with Jib Jab is an app that allows you to put your face on, like, over super silly songs, super silly photos. There's a free version of Jib Jab. Or just subscribe for like 1 month or 1 week and then like get a bunch of Jib Jabs and then download them and then unsubscribe, but you still have the Jib Jab. So they're gifts, they're little videos and songs. So I like to use Jib Jab, funny, happy, like me and Meryl singing happy birthday, but it's not really us singing. It's just our face over some dancing, fun stuff. My clients really like our Jib Jab videos. We also do handwritten birthday cards. And our philosophy is it's not a self-marketing. So like, it's not a, EXP, Big Helper branded card. I literally just buy cards from Amazon that are super cute and blank inside. And we write them a card. We, pre-COVID, we were doing Redbox gift cards, right? So back when, people left their house and went rented movies. So we're not doing that, but I know a lot of people do scratchers, like throw in a scratcher in a birthday card. There's a lot of different things you can do, and it just depends on the client. But at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to connect with your client, and birthdays are a great way to do that. So, our home anniversary. So as part of our closing protocol, we'll ask them for their birthdays and everybody in the house, right? So all of the kids, everybody that's, even if grandma lives there, we're getting her birthday. Because if I send out 10 birthday cards to a family, I count myself lucky, because that means that they're going to hear from us 10 times in a year at a minimum. And I know that kids love getting, snail mail. They love opening up a card for them in the mail. And then also their home anniversary. So those go in our calendar, right? So it's going to go in our calendar so we never forget. And then what we typically do is we look a month in advance. So like I said, we'll go into October, we'll look at all of the birthdays and home anniversaries, we'll write them all up, and then we'll send them throughout the month. And that's how we're able to to make it scalable and repeatable. So one of the other things that we do is we send our clients a survey. So sometime, prior to close is usually better, because at closing, it's kind of crazy and hectic and they're moving and unpacking. So kind of in that sit and wait period of the contract, we like to send them a survey, and it's just a Google form survey that basically is asking them, what's your favorite candy bar? What's your favorite drink? What's your favorite restaurant, type of food, favorite sport? What we want to know is a little bit more about them, so that when the opportunity arises, we can do something a little more custom for them, right? We really want to connect with them. We want to make our gifts meaningful. We also use it a lot of time as part of our closing gift, right? So when we know that there's certain things that they love, we try to incorporate that as part of a unique closing experience for them. Now, one of the most important things is we got to get reviews, guys, right? Like we live in the review economy. And so we make it really simple for our clients to give us reviews, because we have a templated email. Remember I talked about that? We have a templated email, and it has all of our all of our links ready to go. And every single time we email our client. Now, we're going to give them the choice because some people use Zillow, so they don't mind giving us a Zillow review. We're currently trying to build Google reviews because we don't have very many on that. But then, of course, they can always review us through Facebook. So whatever way is easy for them, we're going to encourage them to give us a 5-star review, because that's just going to help us with repeat and referral business. Of course, we're going to update that CRM with all the critical dates that we need and any additional information that we have learned from the survey and or just through the transaction. We're also going to set those follow-up tasks. So, one of the things we're going to do we do in January is in January, everybody that closed the year prior, we send them their final settlement statement as part of just helping them, prep for their taxes and things like that. We're going to set follow-up tasks to enroll them into our Big Helper club that we have, which gives them discounts on different things here throughout the valley, movie tickets and things like that. And we want to make sure that we're basically enrolling them into our marketing system. Again, that doesn't happen by accident, guys. We have to be intentional with this stuff. So your calendars are updated, your email lists are updated. We use BombBomb for a lot of things. So we have a custom list for these people in BombBomb so that they can, stay ahead of all the activities that we're doing, all of the offers that we're, providing and systems and different things like that. But then here's another one. We also put them in HomeBot. So as part of the reason that our closing protocol process has helped us be so successful is that we send 4 CMAs a year to our clients via email. And that's, that's been huge for us because it helps them know what the value of their home is. It keeps them off Zillow. It keeps them off some of those places because they know they're getting it from us. HomeBot came out about 2 years ago. And so if you don't, and again, man, I'm giving away all my secrets here, guys. HomeBot is such an incredible tool because it does more than just give them the value of their home. It actually provides them with a lot of different options. They can search for homes. They can see what they can do with the equity of their home. So again, part of our closing protocol is absolutely making sure that they are getting in HomeBot. So if you don't know about HomeBot, you can partner with a lender. That's what I'm going to recommend. So find a lender that uses HomeBot and get yourself an account. It's a really amazing tool. And because I can promise you, if you're not doing that with your database, someone else is, and you don't want that. So that's the closing protocol. And if you guys ever have, questions about, I do teach a database class about how to build an army of advocates, and it's a 65+ point touch system that, closing protocol kicks this off, but then it's our marketing system that helps us continue to help these clients with their real estate needs and goals. So the last thing that I will say, we're on the home stretch, guys, here, is that you need to be tech enabled. So I know that technology can be scary and technology goes so fast, right? Like I did not feel old until TikTok came out. When TikTok came out, I'm like, what the heck is this? And how do I use it? And why should I use it? And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I created my first Instagram reel the other day. And it sucked, I'll be honest, but I did it, right? And I'll do another one and I'll figure it out. I should have created a reel during this class. That would have been really cool. But we've got to learn to be tech enabled, and that means we've got to set time aside. So the first rule that I would say is whatever your broker uses, use that. Make your life simple by utilizing the tools that your brokerage gives you. I mentioned, again, if you're with EXP and the Big Helper team, we have these things in place. EXP uses SkySlope, which is an incredible tool to manage your escrows. In fact, all of these checklists that I just talked to you about, so everybody who's watching that's with EXP, no matter what state you're in, because the EXP as a brokerage uses SkySlope, in the resources, there is a video on how you can take your checklists and put them into SkySlope. So you can manage your files in SkySlope and you can manage your checklist and due dates in SkySlope as well. So that, my friends, is worth the price of admission right there. I promise you that will save you hours and hours of designing your follow-up system and things like that. So whatever CRM your brokerage uses, use that one. Save yourself money. Whatever technology platform they use for contract management and transaction management, use that one. Make your life simple. Utilize the tools that are there. But if by chance your broker doesn't have something, or you don't have it, then you do have some different options. So being tech enabled means that you are aware of the technology that's out there that's going to help you and your clients. We want to make it simple. So on the free side, use Google. Guys, I am like a huge Google fan. I love Google. I use it for everything. Like I said, Google Calendar, Google Contact Management, Google Slide. This is built in Google Slides, right? And Google Sheets, Google Forms, Google everything, right? Like I love Google, and it's super simple to use, and it's super easy to collaborate. So a lot of this like project management checklist type stuff can be used in Google. It's cloud-based, so you're not tied down to one particular computer. It travels with you. Another one that I really like for managing checklists and processes is a product called Trello. And they do have a free version of Trello that if you are a single agent, you can absolutely use it for, as simple as a do, doing, and done. But as an actual, like those checklists that I shared with you, you can create those in Trello and move them along for each transaction. You can also, which is another really cool feature, is you can invite your client to your Trello board, and they can see all the marketing that you're doing and everything that you've been working on their transaction, so that they know that you're moving them forward. And then, of course, if you're with EXP, you get SkySlope for free, which is an incredible tool. On the paid side, so the bigger your organization gets and the more complicated things get, you don't just have transaction management, you have a lot of project management, right? So back when I miss people, by the way, I really miss people. So back when we were able to see people and places and go places, we did a lot of events, and we did a lot of projects, marketing projects, event projects, and things like that. So as your organization gets bigger, you can look at some paid programs like Monday.com. Monday.com is a platform that we use. There is a small, well, actually, I think one of the people in my mastermind told me that it's not free anymore, but there is, a small version of Monday that allows, and guys, here's what I love about Monday. Has a ton of automation, and it allows you to connect so many different platforms to it. So Monday.com, Asana is another version of that. These are the heavy hitters for automation, either from a transaction standpoint or from project management. Realty Commander is one that's specifically designed for real estate, and is pretty intuitive when it comes to that. So why should you be tech enabled? Okay, we're on the home stretch. Why should you be tech enabled? Well, at the end of the day, it's to create a better client experience. It is our job to create an incredible client experience with everything that's changing in real estate. And you cannot say that it's not changing, okay? It is changing. Open your eyes. If you do not create an incredible client experience, I know 3 companies that will. Now, you may disagree, right? Like sometimes if you're the buyer agent on an OfferPad house, that's not so much a great experience. If you're so I will say that being a buyer's agent on the other side of these big tech companies is not always pleasant, but I can tell you what, these people offer real technology solutions, and there's no doubt that they are heavy hitters in our market. And when it comes to sellers, right? When it comes to making it easy to sell your home, these people do that. And some people will pay the price to sell their home with companies like this because it is easy and it's tech enabled. So it's our responsibility to learn this technology if we want to keep our jobs and we want to create an incredible experience. I believe that the real estate transaction is complicated enough that there's always going to be a need for an agent, a human interaction. However, transaction management and AI automation, that can take away a lot. But only you guys know the things that are not Googleable, right? You know the communities better than anybody else. You know which areas have sandy soil. You know the history of a house and why, this home is going to be a great match for them, and help them interpret that. You're going to help them create the emotion with the house. At the end of the day, it's our responsibility to create a better client experience, and that happens through utilizing technology. So, technology can be scary, but I love this quote. Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. So, how are you going to leave this class? How are you just spent the last hour and 23 minutes with me. How are you going to leave this class? What action will you take? It is my sincere hope that you at least take action on that closing protocol, because that's going to help you get more business and have happier clients and repeat referrals, which is going to be good for you. Because I believe if you're taking the time to be here in this class, you want to be a good agent and you want to have a better client experience. So again, all of the resources are available at bighelpertraining.com. And, again, if you're looking for a team, if you're looking for help here in the Phoenix area, we'd absolutely love to connect with you. You can go to bighelpergroup.com/about, and let's see, right? Let's see if you might be a good fit for our team, if we might be a good fit for you. We wish you absolutely the best experience possible. And if you have any other questions, I'll go ahead and post one last time my contact information. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to my team. We're happy to share additional thoughts on this. And that's it, guys. Have an awesome day.